Wanderers, Season 10 is almost here. We're going to be bringing you to the tier list for the Barbarian, and it is looking pretty diverse. I am incredibly happy with where the class is at. There are so many different builds that will clear Pit 100, get you through all of the content that you want to get through, and we're going to go over all of that tonight. We're going to include a whole bunch of different planners, some leveling guides for you if you want to. They're going to be pretty similar to the way that all of the other seasons worked. Leveling guides don't change all too much, but we're going to have 4 different guides for you. This Sheets document here will be in the description of the video for anybody that wants it. Just head there, you can click on it. While you're there, make sure you hop into Discord with us because we're going to be putting on a race. We also have leveling groups going. The Discord community is absolutely bustling. It is a great place, whether you're brand new to Diablo 4 or you've been playing since the launch of the game like me. There's going to be content in there for you, so absolutely hop in, click that link. It looks like the icon for Discord in the top of the description of the video. We're going to start at the bottom. Now, we're going to start at the bottom, though, with one of my favorite builds that I've got to test on the PTR. All of these guides and all of these builds here, these are straight from the PTR. We readjusted a little bit after we got the patch notes. The Charge, Kick, Leap build is coming in at C tier for pit pushing, but it actually was relatively fast for running speeds and is actually going to be very decent inside of the Infernal Hordes. I'm going to show you, and we're going to do the tier list a little bit differently because I want to kind of diversify the way that we're doing tier lists going forward. We're going to be including speed, we're going to be including Infernal Hordes, and then I'm going to talk about my favorite builds to play. Just because a build won't push to 150 in the pit, which most builds will not, doesn't mean that the build is not good, and that is not a ton of fun. So don't let the lists and the numbers and the letters all determine what you're going to play in the new season. Look at some of the gameplay, find a build that looks like it's going to fit into what your style is, try that build out, because in this season, they're all going to be very strong. For this Leap, Kick, Charge build, this is it right here. This is what I got to test on the PTR. Now, this build was hitting for billions, and it is a mobility build. It is not the strongest one in the world, but you feel like a barbarian when you play it. We just charge around, you slam a group of monsters into the wall, and you kick, and then things die. This is a Pit 69, so we can run things that will actually level up your glyphs, things that will allow you to farm your Paragon levels. So this build right here was just a brutish barbarian build that I was incredibly happy with, and it was just very fun to play. Going back into the tier list here, Iron Maelstrom, I didn't get to play it, but I did get to see a clear that someone else did. It cleared Pit 95, which is incredibly insane because people have been asking for an Iron Maelstrom build for a very long time. For the tier list here, we're going to be doing Pit 115 is going to be your S tier builds, Pit 105 is going to be your A tier builds, and Pit 100 will be your B tier, and then anything that can get into Torment 4 and farm nicely will be in C tier, and that's only for your pit pushing. Now for your speed, I just base it on Pit 69. Now a lot of the builds will go a lot higher and push a lot faster. Just depends on your masterworking and the chaos uniques that you do find throughout the season. If you want to learn about chaos uniques, check out the description of the video because there's going to be a video on chaos uniques. This speed was determined on your pit tier, and then Infernal Horde is just going to be based on, my opinion, based around how big the AoE was and how much AoE we were able to produce, so you can kill big groups of monsters at one time with as little effort as you possibly can. So for your B tier builds, we had straight Whirlwind, Kick, Upheaval, and then we did have your Leap, HOTA, Quake. This one cleared Pit 100 also. This one here was very fun and also very fast as well to play. So these are going to be your B tier builds. I'll have a couple different planners coming out for these as well. When we're looking at our A tier builds, now there is a lot, and there is also going to be a lot that is subject to change. These are all going to be builds that have cleared Pit 105. We're going to take a look at probably what is going to be the best farming build in the game for Season 10 for the Barbarians. It's going to be the auto-cast Dust Devil Barbarian here. Now, you can actually just stand still. I went into Helltides, we put on Whirlwind to give us some additional Dust Devils, but this is the build right here. you just fly around, cast Dust Devils everywhere, and things die. Now, this gets even better as you put tempers on. All of the gear on the PTR, I didn't have a lot of time because I was working the whole week. So I just threw together any gear that I could get on. My master working wasn't the best, my tempering wasn't the best, but that is going to be your auto cast Dust Devil Barbarian. You can just stand there and then it automatically casts things. It uses the new Chaos perks in order to keep your life at half health. Then you can never be healed past that, but you're basically constantly healing yourself. So with the Barbarians, you will actually have unlimited fury with the right setup of the new Chaos perks. There are some downsides and some upsides to it, but it is very, very fun to play. We're going to quickly mention a couple of the other builds here because there were some really fun ones. Deathblow was on the rise. This was hitting really, really hard, and if you can clear Pit 105 with a Deathblow build, when you go into a boss to kill, let's say, Belial, it is so fast. Attack speed on Deathblow, if you've never seen it before, is one of the fastest abilities that the Barbarian has. I don't know what they've done to the animation, but it's so fast, so it kills bosses very, very quickly. So this will actually be a very good bossing build. Mighty Throw, the delayed extinction took a nerf, a pretty big nerf. They knocked off a ton of damage. Now that really only affects the one-shot Mighty Throw build. I didn't play that on the PTR. I played the Mighty Throw build where you just cast a bunch of hammers really, really fast, and it was actually hitting for trillions and trillions of damage, which was a really big change coming out of Season 9, so it looks like this might actually be very fun. It might be very good in the Infernal Hordes if you just can throw your hammers all over the place. We'll get to test it out. This list will change as we get into the season. Things will go up, things will go down as we get to do some more experimenting and figuring things out when we get the gear. Your basic skill builds. Now, these are all incredibly interesting how it's going to work. You now will no longer play a single basic skill. If you want to, you absolutely can. If you're going to be playing on the Eternal Realm and you won't have the Chaos perks, then you'll still be playing a single basic skill. There is a new perk that allows you to dual cast basic skills. One of them will do a little bit less damage, but they both cast at the same time. The way that this works now is that whatever you put on your two-handed weapon, so if we were to go into the game here and we look at the way that the tempers are done, on your two-handed weapon, and you're always going to have a bludgeoning mace that you can put a temper on, that temper will dictate what the build is going to be. And what I mean by that is, looking at this weapon right here, we have a chance for Lunging Strike to deal double damage. That is going to make it a Lunging Strike build. If we were to go and we were going to put new tempers on, and we were to look at the way that these work, Bash has a chance to hit twice, Frenzy has a chance to hit twice, and then Flay has increased duration. That is what is going to make those specific builds a Bash build, a Frenzy build, a Lunging Strike build, or a Flay build, whatever you put onto your tempers, but you will be using multiple basic skills at one time. This is the reason that Lunging Strike has succeeded a lot further than any of the other builds, though. It is the only one that has the chance to deal double damage. So we'll see what ends up happening in the future with basic skills if this gets reworked. They are changing around the way that tempering works in Season 11, so it's kind of open to see what is going to end up happening with it. But that's how your basic skills are going to be used. So with basic skills kind of being talked about now, why don't we hop into the S tier builds? Because we're going to start with Lunging Strike. Now, Lunging Strike, the way that we had it set up is we actually had 3 different basic skills. We had Flay, Frenzy, and Lunging Strike on the bar. Now, the way that this is going to work is if we look at one of the planners here, and now the planners will be in the description of this video. They'll also be inside of this Sheets document here. If you just click on right here, you just go right to the Lunging Strike guide. Now, these guides will break down everything that you need to know if you've never got to see a guide before. This is going to have all your aspects. It's going to have different variants as you progress through the game. So it's going to have all legendary gear, all unique gear once you start finding your mythics, and then it will have your chaos armor, which is going to be completely separate because it will take a little while to get this gear set up the way that you want it to be set up. So if we look at this here, we're going to be looking at the chaos perks. Specifically, we're going to be looking at unstable power here. Chaotic magic erupts from your basic skills, making them guaranteed to critically strike and overpower for 100% increased damage. But the power is unstable, and it gives them a 3-second cooldown. So your basic skills now will guaranteed critical strike and overpower. So you can drop all your critical strike chance. You can drop your Zan runes. You don't have to worry about spending Fury for your Banished Lord's Talisman. You can just use this right here, but you get a 3-second cooldown on it. So if you add in cooldown reduction, which does affect this, it didn't affect it on the PTR, but they did say that that was a confirmed bug. So in the new season, we're going to have this, and it will able to be affected by cooldown. We're going to have less than 3-second cooldown. And now we're going to be harnessing the power in this of the Rage of Haragoth. This is used in the Lunging Strike builds as well. I have seen a build that put together, someone was using Whirlwind in order to reset the cooldown of their basic skills. I went with Flay. So we use Flay to reset the cooldown of our basic skills here. And if you watch on the bottom here, as we start going and as we start attacking, this is with a 3-second cooldown that wasn't able to be cooled down at all. So this will change in the new season and make it a lot easier and a lot better to manage your skills. Somebody that was testing this for me with this setup here got this build to hit 1.2 trillion, and it's going to get even stronger post-patch. So I'm very excited to see how high this will clear. It's hitting harder than the Lunging Strike build in the current season, and in Season 9, Lunging Strike cleared pit 114. So with the increased strength from the Chaos perks, we're hopefully looking at upwards of maybe 120, which would be pretty cool to get to that pit level with the Barbarians. Then we're going to take a look at Rupture. Now, Rupture is hitting like a truck in this new season here. So Rupture here, this is what it looks like when we're running the pits. This is a pit 105 here with very, very suboptimal gear and just kind of thrown together. You pull a group together and things just die. It was very, very fun to play. The AoE range is pretty big. As you can see, it's just this big, gigantic circle around you, so you hit things very, very far away from you. It's not just right on top of you. In any pit pushing build, as people know, you're going to be fishing for the right boss. This one does very, very well with multiple targets around as it hits multiple enemies, but it still has very decent damage for single targets. And now, finally, Hammer of the Ancients. This right here is a pure Hammer of the Ancients. We do all of the damage from Hammer of the Ancients. We do have quakes in it because we're going to be using the Mantle of Mountain's Fury. That is going to explode your earthquakes and is probably one of the best animations in the game. This right here was on the lower end of the damage that I was doing. This 619 billion damage. We had this doing trillions and trillions of damage, and it's just going to get stronger with the addition of Ramaladni's in the new season. Now, Ramaladni's is not going to only affect the skills that are using Ramaladni's anymore. It's actually going to affect all skills just by putting Ramaladni's on. The tough part about it is in the current season, your auto cast will now reduce your maximum fury. So this will not be using any of the auto casting technology that's going to be happening with your shouts. This is just going to use a regular old Hammer of the Ancients spam. So it just hits really, really hard, really fast. We want to build big attack speed so that we can hit these big numbers as fast as we possibly can. It does even more damage against bosses because with the way that your aspect works, you do double the damage against bosses from that aspect. So we're going to see some big, big bossing numbers out of Hammer of the Ancients, and I'm pretty sure that this is going to be one of the biggest bossing builds out there for the Barbarian, right alongside probably Deathblow. This one is very, very fun, and I'm incredibly excited about it. Now, for your speed runs, that's pretty straightforward. It's just running the pits as fast as you can. But for the Infernal Hordes, we're looking at the Whirlwind Dust Devil build. You saw that you just get to stand there. Multiple Dust Devils are going to cast, and you can temper on, again, going back to our tempers for what we're going to have here. If you were to put this on and you look at your Wasteland tempers, you have chance for Dust Devils to cast twice. Now, it casts once for every shout that you have, because your shouts are going to generate your Dust Devils. So now, every time that we shout, we do 2. So 2 times 3, we're now casting 6 Dust Devils at a time just by having this temper on. And that's just standing there. That's not doing anything at all. Then we start whirlwinding and we start spending fury. All of that is going to spawn more Dust Devils. And when we spawn earthquakes, those earthquakes are also going to spawn more Dust Devils. So it's going to be a very, very fun build. It's going to be very fast. This one right alongside your whirlwind quakes. Now, Quakes are actually incredibly strong in the PTR. We did mix in a little bit of your Dust Devils alongside your Quakes as well, because we want to do as much damage in as big of a radius as we possibly can. The key to running this build through the Infernal Hordes and through running the speed pit runs is going to be trusting your Earthquakes to do the damage. Now, it's going to feel a little weird because you're going to just run past monsters. You're going to drop Earthquakes. You're going to let those monsters follow you, because as they follow you, they're going to run through those Earthquakes and then they're going to die. So that's going to be the most important part of this, is trusting your Earthquakes. And for anybody that doesn't like Earthquakes and wants to play something different, there is plenty of different builds out there that are going to run very, very quickly. Even the pure Whirlwind build, and we're going to get to see with the changes to Romuladni's what we're going to be able to get out of this, but we were still able to do quite a bit inside the Infernal Hordes. So if you just wanted to run a pure Whirlwind build, that's going to be an option for you. I do think that Hammer of the Ancients, depending on how we can make a strictly Infernal Horde build, I think the size of this will be pretty good, and we're going to test out some more Rupture in there as well, because you got to see the radius on that Rupture build was pretty big. But that's what we're looking for with the Infernal Horde runs. Now, again, one of my favorite builds was the Charge, Kick, Leap build, right alongside the Whirlwind Dust Devil build, which was very, very fun. Dust Devils everywhere. And then, of course, topping it off, my favorite, number one, was Hammer of the Ancients. I will be starting Lunging Strike going in. This is going to be the leveling guide that we have right over here. So we have 4 different leveling guides for you. The leveling planners are designed, and we'll have videos on each of these planners here that you can watch. They're designed to take you through a journey. That journey will be 1 to 25, 26 to 40, 41 to 60. Starting off, none of the aspects inside of these planners will be things that you have to find. It will be things that you can go to a dungeon and you can go get if you want to take that leveling path. You don't have to just hope for the chance that something is going to drop. So these are all going to be in there for anybody that wants to grab those. But I will be starting off with Lunging Strike, hopping into Earthquakes, and then that Lunging Strike build will carry me into the end game, where we're going to start farming for Hammer of the Ancients, because that is what I want to do. So that's my plan for the launch of Season 10. Make sure you guys join me live at the launch of Season 10. We're going to be doing a launch day community race. This is incredibly fun. I know I mentioned it earlier, but this is the details. The challenge is going to be one of 3 teams in each category to reach Torment 1 or Torment 3. The team is going to be a team of 4. The team has to stay together from start to finish. A boss kill clip of you killing either the boss in the pit 10 or pit 40 needs to be posted in Discord. The first person to get it in there is going to be the winner of either 1, 2, or 3. And the seasonal powers must be visible just so that people can see that it is the current season and they didn't pre-record it. There will be the option to have an alternate just in case there is an emergency, because it does happen. Last season, we had people that had technical issues. We had people that thought they could get on, they couldn't at the launch of the season. I actually had to get a replacement on day 1. So if that does happen to you, and you can have somebody leveling alongside you, that as long as they're within plus or minus 5 levels of your top person, they can rejoin the party if someone has to leave. We're going to have battle passes. Now that's the deluxe battle pass, which will get you the first interactive wings in the game. That deluxe battle pass will be available for teams 1 through 3 on both Torment 1 and Torment 3. So that means there's going to be 6 battle passes up for grabs for all of the teams. And we're also going to have premium subscriptions to Mobalytics. It's going to be either a year long, 6 months long, or 3 months long. Now, Mobalytics is where we do all the builds, so make sure you guys check them out. I'm very excited to hop into Season 10. That's all I got for you today. Let me know in the comments what you think about the Barbarian builds. I'm incredibly excited. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, make sure you share it with your friends. Thank you everybody for watching. I'm live every night. I'd love it if you stopped by, said hi, theory crafted with me. Catch you on the clip side.